Hey guys, welcome to Taste of Recovery, the podcast.
Where we explore one's honest journey of surrender, willingness, acceptance, and courage.
I'm Alicia Spenlove.
And I'm Eden Sassoon.
Please join us every week for authentic and raw conversations with inspiring people in recovery.
We invite you and our guests to get real because the disease of addiction does not discriminate.
Oh, no, it doesn't. And we go through so many emotions. We laugh, we cry, we pray.
So get ready for a taste of recovery.
I didn't know about taking extreme ownership for everything in your life. And really the common denominator in all of these situations is me.
Hey everyone, Max is in the studio today.
Enjoy his taste of recovery.
So I took my last drink April 11th at 11 or something like that. And then I was arrested an hour and 15 minutes later after crashing my car and totaling it in Hollywood. And I don't remember any of it. I remember stashing a firearm under the front seat of the car and like seeing lights in the rearview mirror. And then that was it. And then I woke up and I was in handcuffs and I just knew I was fucked.
And not the right kind of fucked.
No, this was not sexy at all.
What were you doing?
I had just gotten off work earlier that evening and I was managing or like assistant manager, maitre d' at this steakhouse in Woodland Hills called Monty's, old school place.
I've been there.
Yeah. I grew up going there.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner is so nice to me and, just supportive this whole way through. So I was leaving work and there's a little liquor store that I would hit. And I would get my little shooter of like Jameson and then down that, throw it in the trash can right in front of the liquor store and then get in my car and drive Ventura so that I'm like, safer.
Yeah. You don't want to get on that 101.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be irresponsible,
Yeah.
So,
The cars are just close enough to lead you in the right direction.
yeah, they're in their
Follow
lane.
yeah.
Exactly. So, and I'm going with the flow of traffic.
Exactly.
Everything's all
I
good.
hear you.
Being responsible.
Mm-hmm. I know.
So I get to my apartment building and I didn't even get out of the car yet. And some girl that I used to sleep with like a few years back. So this is like 5 years ago. She texted me and said, my boyfriend broke up with me. What are you doing? And I was like, I called her. I didn't even text back. And I'm like, where are you? And she's like, the Elbow Room in Hollywood. And I said, I'll be there in 20 minutes. So I didn't even bring my stuff upstairs yet. I had a gun on me, which I kept on me like at all times, except at work. It would be in my car.
And why did you keep a gun on you?
Well, I mean, of course, not of course. I'm assuming alcohol and drugs heightened the paranoia. But, since 2020 and, all this unprecedented stuff, chaos that we've never experienced before, and ready preparedness and, being a prepared citizen, that was, I don't know, like my brain clicked into, patriotism and man, I never thought I needed to be prepared for some shit like this. And now I'm going to nerd out completely. And I became like an expert with firearms and training and, stuff like that. So, but that all goes out the window when you're doing drugs and alcohol.
Right.
You're no longer a responsible gun owner, and I touted myself to be one.
Yeah. Cause a lot of people do, especially where I'm from. I'm from Tennessee. So
oh yeah,
a lot of people are packing like crazy there. My dad included.
For sure.
Okay. So then you were on your way to the Elbow Room.
Yeah. So I was on my way to the Elbow Room with a Glock on my hip because I was wearing a suit. So I wasn't concealed carrying like appendix carry. If anyone out there listening is like familiar with, 2A jargon. So I'm like full retard, drinking. I think the wild turkey was gone or like, I was halfway through, and then I finished it. I'm sure like when I parked on Cahuenga, and then I walked across the street, met up with this girl, and she had a friend with her. So anyway, we drank a couple drinks there and dropped her friend off. And I was supposed to go to her apartment and sleep there for the night. And we go to Cantor's bar. We had a drink there. I had my usual like bourbon neat and a water. That was enough. And so, like all I remember was we split, and then we get to her place, which is an apartment building. So we like approach to the alley or come through the alley. And she notices her boyfriend's car was still there. So he was like packing still or something, and I couldn't go up. So I just gave her, a kiss and said like, we'll table this for next week. We reconnected. It's all good. And she got out of the car. I pulled out of the driveway and blacked out. That's all I remember. And apparently I crashed into a light pole and crashed into a car that had people in it. And then fled.
You ran?
Yeah, apparently I ran. Left the car. And
good idea.
Yeah. So I can't even be sarcastic and joke, dude. It's so like I'm mortified. And I don't know where you want me to go from there.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
How did you even get to this point in your life where you're carrying? I got the gun situation, but like
the whole 2020 thing
the
and
drinking,
like,
but like you're picking up alcohol on your way to, yeah.
So okay, that's a great question because it opens a can of worms. Halloween night of 2020, I had a girl over at my apartment that I had been seeing intimately for 2.5 years, let's say, on and off. And she lived out in Huntington Beach. And I stopped seeing her for like 6 months. And then this particular night, I decided it was okay to see her again. And so there was drinking throughout the night. She went in the bathroom at Paoli's, I think, and like sniffed some coke. I don't know. I wasn't in the bathroom with her, but I'm just saying that because like her behavior changed, which, I was drunk too. My behavior changed in response to that. I was not cool, calm, and collected. And she, at my apartment now, at the end of the night, she started, just talking shit and being disrespectful. And I was just like, look, get out. Like, this is why I distanced myself, blah, 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 whatever. Like attracts like, by the way. So I was not perfect, to say the least. But she didn't take kindly to that. And I can't remember if she locked herself in my bathroom and then I broke the door to like move her out of my apartment physically, or if she started throwing plates at me first. She started breaking dishes. And it was either she broke dishes and then locked herself in my bathroom, or vice versa. And both are totally plausible. And so I took her by the shoulders and I moved her down the hallway and I said, "You're leaving now." And I opened the door and pushed her out and threw her purse. And mind you, it's 2:30 in the morning. And she's kicking my door and, screaming. And I'm the youngest person in this apartment complex. It's 10 units, with a courtyard and shit. So everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? And I opened the door to tell her to be quiet.
Quit kicking my door.
Stop. And it was like walking into the Tasmanian devil, you know what I mean? Like arms are flailing and she's in high heels. She falls over. My floor outside my apartment was like stucco. So very unforgiving. Anyway, all
I feel like I've been her, so beware.
All regrettable.
Same.
Just like, you know, look, I'll say at the top of this or in the middle, but I want to hold myself accountable and just be like fully aware that I did not act like a man should in this scenario. I mean, first of all, I was drunk, number one. Number two, I didn't know what it really was to be a man. You know, to be in your masculine and calm and the mountain, you know, whatever woman is around you, you're supposed to be the rock and be, you know, masculinity is calm. And, I was not that, you know, I thought I knew what a man's man looked like. And so it was like a caricature that I adopted. And, so, you know, I raised my voice when I was upset or all this insecure behavior that was derived from fear. And that's certainly like, that's the place that I was in this moment. I was in a lot of fear, you know, some girls like losing her mind in my apartment and I'm just like, oh shit, don't know what to do. And I just go into little boy, get out of my room, you know, and, so the police came and detained me, marked her as on their report, marked her as the aggressor and me as the victim. And she was told to leave. So she left and I went back up into my apartment and I slept the night. And then the next morning she tried to call me and was like, and by the way, none of this is emotional. You know, I wish her the very best and I've prayed for her. You know, I don't wish ill will on anybody. She called me and said, what happened last night? You know, blah, blah, blah. Why'd you act like that? And I was just like, we're done. You know, last night was unacceptable, totally forgetting my part. And, I blocked her. And then I come home from work one day and get a piece of mail saying you have to be at Van Nuys Court for spousal battery.
So when you say spousal battery, I mean, she wasn't your wife.
No. So here's the law.
Okay.
If you see someone intimately 2 or more times in a year and some altercation happens, that's domestic violence in the city of Los Angeles.
It's interesting. So was she pressing charges against you?
Yeah. So apparently she filed separately with the city 20 days later. I get to court and the pictures are insane of like her face, you know, like I knew she fell over like a couple times outside of my apartment. Like I said, she was in high heels. Our arms were flailing. I'm trying to, you know, I'm getting scratched and probably pushing her off of me and all this stuff. And, you know,
it's a
blame
sad,
shifting.
It's just a sad situation.
The whole thing is unfortunate would be putting it lightly. So they remanded me into custody right then and there in the courtroom. Yeah. So I'm in LA County jail for 8 days there. And, you know, it couldn't have come at a worse time too, because like business was slow. Obviously my dad and I were doing real estate. You know, I was burning through my savings that I made from like 2019. And, I really didn't want to put up bail. Bail was extremely high that they set for me. Okay, so what brought me to this whole thing? Why am I drinking and abusing drugs? And like, you know, how did I get to that place?
Don't forget the women, because both stories had women involved.
Oh, there's another woman coming up again.
Well, we got to get to your sobriety.
So yeah, 100%.
With this lawsuit or whatever you want to call it, spouse, was this the thing that, that was the downward spiral that like shook up, that knocked me off my frequency level completely. Whatever positive frequency level I was operating from before that, I now was like knocked down to this shitty frequency level where I was vibrating really shitty and just in a constant state of fear and negativity. And I found myself in another relationship in the middle of this whole court battle. I met a girl in AA and, I had like a week sober. She had like 14 months sober or something like that. And things kicked off really quick. And, I thought I like found the one and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, like I said, like attracts like. So I attracted, you know, a chameleon. There's a lot of stuff that was uncovered like 4 or 5 months in that just like kind of broke my heart. You know, I didn't know about like vetting people and taking things slow and like not painting red flags green. And I just painted all these red flags green and thought I could save her and blah, 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 blah. And, so I ended up spending another 5 months after the first 5 months to get out of this relationship. You know, trauma bonding kept it going, and sex. And, as soon as I said no to the sex, you know, we were broken up, but we were still seeing each other intimately. But as soon as I tried to cut that off, she didn't like that very much, and she fell off her sobriety, even if there was sobriety at that point. And I guess she picked up meth and came into my apartment screaming and hitting my door and tearing up the front patio. And like, so I had to get a restraining order against her, move out of my apartment, and change my number. So I moved in with my mother, who was moving into a new apartment and about to get hip surgery. And I figured, okay, I had 2 birds, 1 stone. I'll use your moving truck, move in with you for a few months, take care of you while you recover, find a new place. Well, that 3 months turned into a year, and I'm just getting more and more depressed and blaming women and like California and all this shit. And I'm just super resentful and also doubling down on my rebellion. And I have a mother to take care of. I guess that was my excuse that I could like use, you know what I mean? But it was really just like, I'm fucking sick of it. I had all these accolades and achievements before all this. And I just feel like my life got destroyed from my relationships with these women. But again, I was a boy. I didn't know about taking extreme ownership for everything in your life. And really the common denominator in all of these situations is me.
And alcohol?
Oh yeah, and alcohol. And it progressed. I picked up meth. I picked up crystal, because there was like an Adderall shortage, and I've been on Adderall since I was 14. So as soon as that cut off, and I was selling Adderall also, might as well just throw that in there. And, someone who I was selling my Adderall to was like, hey, can you get me some Adderall? And I'm like, I don't even have Adderall. Like it's my medication. Like, stop calling me. And she brought up, can you get me crystal? And I was like, I don't know. Let me check. And it's as simple as that. I was like, I think maybe a piece of my thinking was going like, that's not a bad idea. Like, I'm 20 pounds heavier than I was when I was on it, and I can't get anything done. I'm a fucking slob or whatever. You know, when you're on it that long and it just gets cut off, I couldn't even function, you know? So I found it very quick. Turns out like a friend of a friend had it, and I went and picked up and, took a hit. And then got this girl what she wanted. She Venmo'd me, and, you know, and then she Venmo'd me again and asked for it again. And I was like, okay. And I was pinching her sack, you know, her bag. And then like, and she was paying too much for it, and I didn't tell her. So I would just get her a little extra so I could have a little extra. And then, you know, 2 times a week turns into 3. And then it turns into, now I'm smoking meth. And there you go. And that lasted about 4 months until that night that I, you know, told you about. This awful thing, how about this? This really inconvenient thing in my life saved my life. because who knows what the fuck I'd be doing if I didn't get busted that night. I'd probably be fully into crystal meth addiction. I don't even want to think about it.
So when you got busted that night, is that the last time
anything
you used?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
April
That's great.
12th.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
What a blessing, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
God saved my life.
God saved your life.
100% for like the 15th time. You know what I mean?
But you're right. All these things had to happen for you to get to where the arrest and all the craziness happened.
Yeah. And so I spent 77 days in LA County jail because that was a violation of my probation that I was on from the misdemeanor domestic violence. I was on 3-year summary probation. So I spent 77 days in there, got out, had a felony gun charge and misdemeanor DUI. I had 2 felony gun charges and a misdemeanor DUI. And I went to Bet Teshuva, which is a Jewish treatment center in Culver City, where I spent 90 days. And they helped me immensely.
I mean, were you clean in jail?
Yeah, I was clean the whole time in jail.
Okay.
And
So
trust me, I had options.
Right.
I was clean the whole time in jail.
So
I was
you got out and you were
fucking
able to
scared. And I was able to, stay sober.
Mhm.
Yeah, I went to Moore Park every day, multiple times a day sometimes. I mean, I hit like at least 1 meeting a day. And really, I wanted to say at least 2, but some days I can't hit 2. But some days I hit 4. I spent 4 hours at a bar easily a day.
Yeah.
So why can't I go to 4 meetings a day? My brother has been like, isn't that a lot? Like, what are you doing at these meetings? And I'm hearing the message.
Yeah. It's what you need. It's your medicine.
Well, yeah. I mean, my medicine is, I was a little nervous before this because talking like, putting on headphones and talking to a microphone in a studio, it's like I need to stay present and honest. So I was like, because I don't want any ego or any of that shit to come out. So I called sponsees and just asked how they're doing. And that helped.
And also, when you're looking at your life back then, with the women you were dating and the violence that was happening and when you were drinking and using, and looking at your life today, what kind of man you are today. Describe to us what has changed and what kind of man you are for the new woman that you will have or have in your life.
Sure. I was dating a girl named, we were hanging out, just dating a few months ago. And really the most important thing to me when I'm with a woman is, do I make you feel safe? Do I make you feel safe enough to drop your guard and be feminine, and just be a girly girl, which is what I want. And so I asked her, I said, do I make you feel safe? And she's like, oh, yes. And it's just like right there. I have everything I need. As long as you feel safe and taken care of. And
do you feel safe and taken care of?
Yeah. I mean, of course, like, I make mistakes, like I still paint red flags green for a second, but like, I've educated myself. I went down a rabbit hole of not only learning about, other dangerous people, but learning about myself, like what attracted this. And am I the narcissist? Do I have borderline personality disorder or some kind of cluster B personality disorder? And I went through that whole rabbit hole and, I was relieved, many therapists or psychologists at the top of their game say, if you're even asking yourself that question, chances are you're not. And when I was at Bet Teshuva, my therapist had a DSM-5 book on his bookshelf. And I said, you have that? And he's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, will you please give me a NPD test? And he's like, you want to do that? And I was like, yes, like, please. I'm dying to know. Cause I just want to shed all this. I want to shed anything toxic that I've put out there, you know? Cause I never want to do to somebody else what hell I thought I was being put through. And that went into my amends in my 9th step. Like I was calling girls from fucking 15 years ago going like, did I hurt you? Did I, take from you? Blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry if I was this way. And thankfully, like 90% of them were like, no, like you were fine. We were having fun, blah, blah, blah. Like, thank you for the call. That's amazing. And, I just wanted to be rid of any bad energy. I wanted to get back to that frequency level, not my old self. I wanted to get back to a new max, but raise my frequency level and vibrate positively again.
And so something like that doesn't just happen, obviously, in
No.
like one day or one session of something.
No, yeah.
So today, what does life look like?
Life is calm unless I make it not calm, and that's when but I'll tell you what it looks like when it's calm first. I wake up and I pray. I go to the gym. I eat cleanly. I'm of service to others without expecting anything in return. I meditate. I fall asleep to sleep hypnosis when I feel like my head is not in a place where I want it to be, but like when I disrupt that pattern, that's when I get full of anxiety. This is when I'm scheming, or
doing it Max's way,
planning. Yeah. Making a plan. What does Mike Tyson say about making plans? Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face.
What does God say? Just bring your eraser.
Yeah. And you know what I'm learning? Yeah. You know what I'm learning though is, that I don't like that behavior. I'll like.
You mean your own self-will?
Well, yeah. But things that I just know in my gut, the first word that came to mind is unholy, Just like I want to be with God. So porn, for example, and I know God's going to put some titties in my fucking explore page on Instagram later after saying that. He's going to be like, you really about that life?
Yeah.
And
that's a
like,
real thing.
It is, because anytime I espouse something, later I'm tested that day. So I really try and watch my words so that the tests are easier, But like porn, I cut that out of my life. And of course I've slipped or whatever, but I fucking hate it when I do. I don't like it. We were talking yesterday about instant gratification versus delayed gratification. And that is something that, I'll speak for myself after, but I notice in society, instant gratification is like, there's only instant gratification. It's like how we survive. I want to eat now. I want sex now or validation now or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you don't even have to work to get it. We used to have to leave the house to go meet a girl that later we might be able to, have sex with and like have a connection with and love, but now it's, and you see it in society, people are miserable. It pains me to say that.
And that brings me back to drinking and using that instant gratification. We think it's going to be so great.
Oh God.
And it is for 20 minutes.
And then you want to kill yourself because you let yourself down or I let myself down rather,
And is the instant gratification just because we can't, I know it's different for different things, but we can't be in the moment of what we're feeling at that time. So we need to instantly change it. Whereas we need a woman, we need the food, we need to spend the money, we need the drink. Like,
yes,
possibly,
great question, because that answers that. Now we're getting into the whole, what's that God-sized hole that we were trying to fill? And then you take away all the instant gratification. What do you fill it up with now? Well, you got to fill it up with self-esteem. You know, how do you build your self-esteem? Little wins. That's what I learned through this whole year was like really just getting my brain back, upping my frequency level, reprogramming my brain, getting my dopamine back, you know, so much. How do I feel good again about myself? When I'm praying, being of service, working with others, just doing all the things that make me feel good about myself while operating on pure oxygen.
Taking right action.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
So if you find yourself really like just waking up really depressed and and then wanting some instant gratification and you're alone in your home, like
what do I do?
What do you do?
Okay, so this is not what I recommend to other people. So I say gratitude list first. Write down 10 fucking things I'm grateful for. Because immediately, you know, I'm thinking about things that I don't have, things that are missing.
And I agree with you, by the way.
You know, yeah, 100% gratitude list, because that ups your fucking frequency level. Prayer, meditation, gratitude list. This ups the way that I project, you know, out or what I'm displaying. You know, it's like also negative self-talk. I've totally deleted that from my vocabulary. I get away from people who say like, you know, backhanded shit. And I feel very strongly about that. You know, right before I went to jail, 2 weeks before, I sent my dad, I was trolling him. I sent him something on Instagram, like a meme or whatever, a spicy one. And he responded with like, you know, and this is an amends that I have to make to my dad and like, you know, address a resentment that I have, a deep-seated one, about how he talks to me. You know, he said some shit that I feel like he put some energy out in the ether and then it came to fruition. He said, "You're a piece of shit, blah, 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 blah. You're going to end up in jail." And then I ended up in jail. Now, I'm not blaming him. Of course, I had a lot of behavior that led right to that. You know what I mean? But
it sounds to me like he was, I mean, this is an interesting concept because it's like what came first type thing, you know? He was sort of stating the obvious with maybe your behavior and what could happen, and then it happened. And
but it ties into everything about how I dealt with women before, you know, screaming or raising my voice or fucking, you know, telling him what to do and being controlling. And like, that was my father. I mean, I love the guy to death. He's my best friend. But he didn't act like, I mean, he didn't teach me true masculinity. And I regret to say that, you know, it fucking bums me out.
But it's okay because you've got it now. Maybe.
Yeah.
We didn't grow, I grew up in a very, verbally abusive home.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And so.
And I thought it was because we were Jews from fucking Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Like, this is just how we talk. Fuck you. Fuck you. Well, I see you later. Yeah, I'll be there. You know what I mean? And it's love later. But no, that's like toxic.
But I don't think that they knew any better.
Right.
You know?
Right. Baby boomers fucked everything up.
Right. And
kidding.
It's, you know, it's very unfortunate and very sad, but, you know, being grateful for, it's hard to be grateful for everything in our lives, but, you know, it makes us who we are.
100%.
And now, and having those feelings, now you know what it's like. You're learning the tools to treat women better, to be a better man. And you know, when you walk in a room, who you want to be and like who you are. And you're not going to be perfect every time.
No.
But
the goal for me is to not purposely offend anybody or hurt anybody. And mean what I say and say what I mean and have boundaries and stick to them and stick to all 4 of those things, you know?
And apologize when you need to apologize.
100% promptly. Like for real.
And I know you love your dad, but maybe he's not ever going to get that though. Or maybe he is going to grow and get there.
Yeah. I just feel bad. Like, you know, he's in the last chapter of his life. And like, I feel bad, like even making him feel bad
but it's
before he passes. You know what I mean? Like I want him to pass like peacefully.
But your truth is not making someone feel bad. It's the truth. He didn't
It's just
have the
the
tools
truth, yeah.
to pay that forward to you. And now you're able and well, how beautiful you're able to do that today.
You're
Yeah.
able to be
That's his.
you're able
and
to
give it back to him.
You're able to be compassionate to him. You don't have to say anything or tell him that you wished anything different. You're just different.
And
you're
you
different
know what?
with him,
You're
right?
saying again your truth in these later years of his life before, you know, that's life. We transition from this physical form. That's okay.
Right.
That he hears that.
Yeah.
And maybe he should. And he's going, whether you tell him or not, I'm sure there's a part of him. We were talking
Who
about this
knows
in my
deep down.
Exactly. Before my dad was dying, my sponsor said we were doing the 4th yesterday. He's like, don't you think your dad sat there? I didn't even have him on my 4th list. I did not have my father. Is that a joke?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Crazy.
Everyone in my family is on my 4th list. On my 4th.
I am still shocked. I went through 3 times, like the first one. And he asked me that, like, don't you think he thought these things that he knew that he didn't do this? And I was like, basically saying, Eden, give him back that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
That's his lesson. You weren't taught it. It's okay. That's freedom for you right there.
100%. And you know, look, I'm not the biggest guy. You know, there's guys that will fuck me up, you know, but I want to be the strongest max that I could possibly be. And that's my goal. And not just strong physically, you know, I'm a protector just in nature.
You're going to be a badass through your sobriety.
100%.
Isn't that how we feel sort of when we allow God into our life?
Yes.
And you said something yesterday about, you know, really turning it over.
Yeah.
So what does that look like?
Not controlling the outcome, not future tripping, you know, or planning anything other than like, you know, I just trust God. God's got me. And I thank him for his faith in me and the gift of sobriety and that he's got me and abundance and another day of life, you know.
And then you do right by him.
Yeah. 100%. I mean,
for others.
It's hard, but it's like Pavlov's dog. It's learned behavior. I have done very well. Thank God for unlearning so much behavior that didn't serve me. Okay. I kept what was good about me, which was always my heart and our gut feel, you know, our gut instinct. That was always true. I unlearned all this other shit and adopted God's will.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope these stories have touched your hearts and left you with a newfound appreciation for the incredible strength within us all.
And if you found our podcast to be a source of inspiration, we'd be extremely grateful if you could take a moment to rate and review us.
Yes, review us.
Your support helps us reach more people on the path to recovery.
And while you're at it, hit that follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Remember, you're not alone. One day at a time, we got this.